Hey, so we're gonna run you through a kettlebell deadlift. Now, honestly, this form is really for any deadlift, but we'll go with the KB deadlift because that's kind of one of our, I would say, introductory, lifts that we teach. So what Theo's gonna do, he's gonna set up on a deadlift and I'm gonna just coach him up. Now, he kind of knows how to deadlift, but I'm still gonna take him through some corrections and some things that we might see. The great thing about the deadlift is like that Theo can step inside of it, right? Most of the time, if you got the barbell, it's gonna be in front. And as soon as it's in front, you might get, so imagine that Theo's gonna bend over and imagine there's a bar here. Actually, let's put the bell out here, right? Watch it. So you'll see this a lot, that if you put the bell out in front even more and he's trying to lift it, what's gonna happen? Like, stay nice and tight so you stay safe. But if he lifts it up, that's a lot of stress on the back, right? But if we have the bell and we bring it back, he's gonna bring it back down. And I like to create an imaginary line between the toes. We're gonna put it like right on there or behind that, because now he's gotta push his hips back, right? Now, we look for vertical shin or kind of vertical shin, right? Not knees going too far forward because we want that hinge. If he's got a logo on the chest, right? So imagine that right here, he's got a logo. I should be able to see it, right? Like, I can see the logo on his chest right now. Now, go higher on that hinge deal, so I can't see the logo, there you go. So that's more of an RDL. It's not like necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's not the deadlift that we want. So he's gonna go lower, we're gonna see that logo on the chest. From there, let's loosen up the shoulders, bring them up. Now, watch. When I tell him to like squeeze and rip the bell apart and pack his shoulders down into his back pockets, watch how it looks like, bam. Right, lats are nice and solid, nice and tight. Chest is open, right? So one of the things we want to avoid when you pull those shoulders down is to not be rounded. There you go, right? So we want to rip those clavicles apart, squeeze those shoulder blades together, pack them down into the pocket. Other thing you'll see is some people will rock back and you'll see their toes come off the ground right here, right? We actually teach it to have push the big toe, push the heel, push the little toe. So it's like a tripod. He's feeling his whole foot. And now he's gonna rip the bell apart, like rip it apart. He's got a tall spine, and he's gonna start creating tension into the ground, and only once his whole body's tight, he's gonna come back up, right? And at the top, notice, open chest, ear in line with the shoulder, in line with the hip, in line with the knee, in line with the ankle, right? We're training this, we're coaching this to perfection. He's gonna go down that same path, drive it back down, see the pushing everything into the ground, and once again, he creates tension, he comes back up. Right now, everything is nice and solid, right? He's solid, his glutes are solid, he's trying to crush a walnut in between his butt cheeks, and he's thinking tall, so he's thinking, I'm gonna push my head to the ceiling, so he's nice and tall, and putting it back down. Right, so that's the coaching cue. Some of the things that you'll see are things like rounding, right, and starting at the bottom here. Now, if a person doesn't have a great range of motion, right, we might put him up on an elevated pin, okay? Another thing that you guys saw with Theo was like those rounded shoulders. Then you also might see the squatty deadlift. So set up a kind of like a squat deadlift where people will literally try to squat it. And you can see how his butt is low here, right? So imagine that the deadlift is right in between an RDL. So go into that RDL, Theo, like really high up hinge, right? So that's the RDL position. Now go down into a squat, super low squat. Okay, now the deadlift is right in between. Bam. So he feels his hamstrings, he feels his glutes, right? And we can see that logo on the chest. And you can drive up from there. And then that's where we get that hinge position that we want to train. Now, if he had a barbell, a trap bar deadlift, imagine that same position that he was in, instead of being here, he would now be here, right? Arms to the side. If it was trap bar deadlift, he'd be here, okay? But everything is the same. We're just gonna use that bar to bend it over the shins. And so when you look from the side, let's do it with the bell, right? So just set up that side, but Gene's gonna get that side shot to see. So what we wanna see is, first of all, if it was a barbell, we'd want that barbell over that foot, right? In this case, we got that bell. As he goes back down into hinge, what we want to see is hip above the knee and shoulder above the hip, right? Hip above the knee, shoulder above the hip. Also, if this was a barbell, I would want it to draw a line and it goes straight into Theo's armpit. I might actually even get him a little bit over here, right? So imagine there's a barbell here, now there's a kettlebell, and I draw a line and it goes right into kind of his armpit. And that center of gravity is great now because we're loading the hips up. It's close to the body with the core, right? And we can get as much power and produce as much force as we possibly can. Because if he was out here, right, so let go of the belt and just imagine he's got a barbell out here. Look at how far the weight is away from his center of gravity, right? And that's gonna load up his low back in a way that we don't wanna load it up. So it's gotta be close to the body, right? And so when he brings it in, he's probably doing like a long ass ISO right now, right? And break. But so those are the things that we look at, and like we're literally thinking, and we want that maximum tension, right? Because as soon as you don't have tension, we're gonna get leaks, right? Power leaks. And so if we're not connected and our core is not engaged, right? Big breath into the belly, okay? And driving up, man, now all of a sudden we're gonna have that leak in the low back, or we might have a leak in the neck, right? If it's cranking forward. So we want those straight lines and tension everywhere. And one of the things I didn't mention was, but when Theo came up, we always coach the deadlift push. Right? So instead of going like, pull, right? If I pull, a lot of times people pull with their low back. Like even neurologically, that's what you think about. It's like pulling, right? But if I say push the ground away, now I'm gonna push force with my whole foot into the ground, and I'm gonna engage hamstrings, glutes, and everything like I'm supposed to, right? Big difference. So put those into play in some of your coaching, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for your clients, and see how much of a difference that makes. See you next time.